Hey, hello, and welcome to Michael's Minty Music for today. Today we review the soundtrack for Super Mario Bros. Released in 1985 on the Nintendo Entertainment System. The soundtrack is available through the Nintendo Music app, which is where I listen to it officially. This is the track listing, and these are the tracks I added to my playlist, 9 out of 16, so 1 over half. It's hard to find things to say about these songs since they're kind of pretty iconic, but they're also pretty simple. The whole soundtrack is only 10 minutes long, and half of that time is taken up by the regular background music. This album also gets double duty out of basically all of its tracks by speeding them up for the hurry-up versions. This works really well with some of them and not as well with others. Ground and Underwater are pretty good in both versions, but Castle and Underground aren't really that good sped up. The rest of the little jingles that play throughout the game are pretty decent. They're mostly just a few notes. It's a little strange they put things like the player down and timer warning songs in here, but I can appreciate that kind of thoroughness. Overall, a pretty good soundtrack for its time, certainly more substantial than the sort of arcade soundtracks. Even though they're using pretty much the same audio tech, this kind of has more stuff going on, even though the individual tracks could have been heard on any sort of arcade machine. My favorite track here is definitely the Invincibility theme. If you were to choose one track here that's really kind of innovative and represents where video game music was in the mid-'80s, it would be probably this one. Simple, but still in kind of the new wavy techno genre using limited hardware. You could put this on any synth and it would still sound quite good. So yeah, definitely a standout track. And for the Nintendo soundtracks, I'll be ranking them based on series and console. So first title here is Super Mario Bros. Soundtrack. Gets the only spot in both of the Mario series rankings and the NES game rankings. I'll also be deciding which soundtrack is the best Nintendo soundtrack from the year. So this one takes it from 1985 because it's the only soundtrack on the app from 1985. I'm also going to keep comparing it to the general list of albums, so this soundtrack does not take my top spot from 1985 overall. That stays with Talking Heads' Little Creatures, and it's going to be a bit before the video game soundtracks really have enough stuff going on to compete with the full release albums from the years, so that isn't really a surprise. Thank you for watching. Next up will be the soundtrack for The Legend of Zelda, released for the NES in 1987. I'll also be reviewing the Famicom release in 1986, since the two soundtracks are separated but basically the same on the Nintendo Music app. So stay tuned for that, and as always, stay minty.